Hello, and welcome to another session of yoga therapy. Today's class is going to be focused on bringing awareness to each part of your body, right from your head to your toes. So, I welcome you to take each pose slowly and see how it feels in your body before you proceed. We are going to need some props today. So I'm going to use two yoga blocks and a yoga bolster. And if you don't have a yoga bolster, maybe you can roll up another yoga mat to copy the shape of the bolster. So I'm going to arrange the yoga blocks just so, and this makes a nice kickstand for my yoga bolster. So sometimes I've seen people use a thick pillow instead of a bolster, or like I mentioned, a rolled up yoga mat. So you take whatever you have in your house and make it work. I welcome you to join me with your back rested against this bolster. So scooch as close to your bolster as you can. And then lay gently with your back laid here, resting against the bolster. Keep your hands on either side of your hips, and maybe you knock your knees together. And to my body, this feels like a nice place to rest. My spine is upright, and with each breath, I can bring awareness to my chest lifting up. And then gently as I exhale, my chest subsiding down. So find your spot, find your place, and join me here if you can. Taking care to bring awareness to this moment as how your hands feel rested on the side of your body, how your hips feel rested on the yoga mat, and how rested you feel with your back against this bolster. Couple more breaths here. And then start to take your left hand straight above your head and then grasp your bolster with that left palm. This allows my elbow to start to point towards the ceiling or above my head someplace and gives my left arm and my left side body a nice stretch. So let your left arm rest on your yoga bolster above your head and see how that feels. And then right now my left elbow is pointing slightly up towards the ceiling in front. And then maybe you start to rotate that elbow out to the left while still letting your left arm rest here. So from pointing forwards, my left elbow is now pointing to the left side of my mat. And this gives me a different kind of opening in that left shoulder. So let's try that again. Pointing your left elbow forward and front, above your head but front as your nose is pointing. And then that left elbow rotating so that now the elbow points out to the left side and makes my shoulder turn out as well. One more time, elbow forward, kind of closing my left armpit here. And then turning that elbow out and opening the left armpit. Great work. Slowly let that left arm come down again. And let's try the same thing with your right arm. Taking the right arm above your head, grabbing onto your bolster with your right palm. And maybe this is the place to stop for you. Maybe you don't want to do any other movement, and that's perfectly fine too. But if you're with me right now, become aware of how that right elbow is pointing closer towards your face and up above towards the ceiling. And then as you open that right elbow out, your armpit is opening, your shoulder is rotating out. So right elbow pointing forward and up towards the ceiling, and right elbow pointing out and away to the right side. One more time, right elbow pointing forward and up, and right elbow pointing out to the right and into the side. Great work. Now I welcome you to take both your hands above your head. And again, maybe this is all you want to do right now. Just hold on to the yoga bolster and stop right here. Let your shoulders rest in this extended position. Maybe you want to point your elbows forward and out to the side a couple of times to feel that movement in your shoulders. Opening wide and then closing and pointing your arms up to the ceiling. Great work. Slowly release your hands down by your hips, or maybe you want to hold on to your thighs and let your hands rest here. And then start to lengthen your right leg. Point your right foot, flex your right foot. And then lengthen your left leg as well. Point that left foot and flex it. And then now together, both ankles, both feet point and both feet flex. Awesome work. And then slowly start to come up away from the bolster. And now you're going to turn so that your left hip, and if you had a pant pocket to the side, then your left pant pocket is super close to your bolster. And you're welcome to adjust this height, this inclination, the incline of your yoga bolster, however you like it to be, right? So now I'm making that bolster slightly less inclined and upright. And again, adjust it the best you can or you want for your body. Bring your left pant pocket super close to your bolster. And both hands on that left leg with your left knee bent about in the right angle. Adjust your right knee however you would like it to. If you take it back a little more, it's more of a right hip opener. But for some people, this is very uncomfortable. And if that's the case, please bring the knee in closer. Also, maybe you want to prop your seat up and sit on a block here. You're welcome to do that as well. And for some of us, maybe this is the place you want to stop and rest. So this is a hip opener, and then you're bringing your both hands on the left thigh, and then you're trying to make your spine nice and long, and stop here and see how this seat feels in your body. If you want to go a little more further, you start to walk your hands in front of your nose on the floor, and then, like I mentioned, adjust that right knee. I'm going to take it slightly back. For my body, that feels good. And now I am leaning forward with a hip hinge. And so it's a deep hinge in my left hip especially, while I try to pull my right shoulder forward. And maybe this is a place for you to stop and rest and do not go any further. But if you want to, maybe you bring both your elbows down. And now we just made the crease even deeper in that left hip. And maybe this is a place where you think you can rest. Maybe you bring your forehead down, maybe you don't. Again, listen to your body always. Taking a few breaths here. And then with your next inhale, press the floor away. Slowly come up. Come back into a nice upright position. And if your bolster seems to have fallen down, you bring it back. And now I'm going to turn to my bolster. So adjust your seat so that both your shoulders can face the bolster. And again, this is not easy for everybody. You stop wherever you feel like you need to stop and rest and not go any further. But if you want to join me, you start to pull your chest towards the bolster and let your chest rest on the bolster. If you can, turn your nose to the right, let your left cheek rest on the bolster. And I like to bring both my hands around and hold on to the yoga blocks. And for me, this is a nice place to rest. Feels like I can lean heavy on the bolster. And it's a supported spinal twist. And so maybe you want to lengthen with your spine as tall as the bolster and then rest again. And so notice if you can take a full breath in and how that feels in your body. Deep inhale and a slow exhale. Deep inhale and a slow exhale. Maybe you stop here. Maybe to deepen the twist, you turn your head towards the left. Again, this is optional. A couple more breaths here. And slowly untwist your head first and then push onto the floor with both hands on either side of the bolster and come on back up, untwist and wind. Slowly bring that right leg back forward. We meet in a seated butterfly. Again, you might want to sit on a bolster or a block. If that feels good for your body, please go ahead and do that. And this is the place you check in. Your right hip was opening here in the seated Z-sit kind of a pose. How does it feel in your right hip? Can you sit down with both hands on each leg and just feel the felt sense in your right and the left hip? Awesome work. And then join me to the next side. So you're welcome to keep your blocks exactly how they are in the bolster if that's how you're using it. I'm going to move it to the other side so I can still face you. And so now my right hip is going to be very close to the bolster. My right leg is in front with my right knee bent in the right angle. And my left leg, adjust it exactly how it feels comfortable for your body. To me, a little ways back feels good. And then both hands on the right thigh and sitting upright. Notice your body wants to lean slightly to the right usually. So it takes some effort to sit up tall here. A deep breath, inhaling and exhaling. This is called a deer pose in yoga language, and some people call it a Z-sit. Again, it's a very nice hip opener, but always take it slow. Do not force any position for your hips or for your knees. Trying to muscle your way into a pose is not a good idea ever. And then if you feel comfortable, you're going to bring both hands in front of your right leg, just like we did on the other side. And maybe you want to stop here. And maybe going forward is a good idea and it feels like it's going to help your hips. Then you start to bring your elbows down on the floor. And this is a nice deep crease for your right hip, an opener for that left hip. Trying to pull that left chest, left shoulder down. Let your head hang, and maybe you bring your forehead down on your hands. Excellent work. Slowly push the floor away. Come on up. Be slow and gentle. And then find your way back into a comfortable seat. Please very slowly undo the bend in that left leg. Bring it forward. Meet me this time in a simple cross-legged position, sitting up tall. Checking in how that felt for your body, for your hips. Deep breath here, inhale, and a slow exhale. Great work. Now we're going to move the blocks out of the way and then lay down with the bolster on the floor directly. Bring your hips very close to the bolster but still sitting down on the mat while you lay the rest of your spine on the bolster. Keep your knees bent and maybe knocking towards each other and see how this feels. So for my body, this feels like a nice supported way of laying down because my lower back is well supported by the bolster edge. If this feels not comfortable, as always, please push the bolster away and lay flat on the floor. I'm taking a deep breath here Inhale, exhale. Next time you inhale, maybe take your arms all the way above your head. Lengthen them. Maybe your fingernails touch the floor, maybe they do not. Either way, it's perfectly fine. Feel the nice puffing up of your ribs. Your ribs are splaying open and you have a deep arch in your back, and that's fine. And then exhale, let your arms come down by your hips again. Great work. One more time. Arms out to the side and above your head. Reach with your arms. Exhale, slowly open your arms wide and bring them back by your hips. Resting, taking a couple breaths here. Great work. And then slowly turn to one side and then come on up. This time you're going to push the bolster away as well. We don't need it anymore. Keep it handy, but we're going to lay down flat on our backs again. This time flat on the mat. Notice, unlike the bolster, this feels natural. So the bolster was a supported way of opening up your upper chest area as you breathe. But the mat should feel easy, and maybe your shoulders are more open and pressing down against the mat in a little better way. Deep breath here. Inhale, exhale. And then now we're going to take our shoulders through a few positions. So I welcome you to take your arms above your head in this letter Y. Feel the reaching arms. And then bend your elbows and bring your arms to the side in this letter W. One more time. Reach your arms above your head. This you can call letter Y or a letter V. And then bend in your elbows, pull your arms down, and this becomes the letter W. Last time. Letting your arms rest heavy on the floor the best they can. Reaching the arms above your head. And then bringing your elbows bent down into this letter W. Great work. Now you're going to open your arms wide, and this will become the letter T. So these formations are so that you can open up your shoulders. So big wide arms, letter T. And then bend your elbows back to this kind of letter W. And then turn so that the lower arms and fingers will point towards the ceiling. So I'm laying my lower arms flat on the floor in this letter W. And then all I do is, without moving my upper arms or the elbows, I'm just pointing all 10 fingers up towards the ceiling, and this becomes the letter L. So W, when your lower arms are down on the floor with bent elbows. And letter L, when my elbows stay touching the floor but all 10 fingers point towards the ceiling. Awesome work. Let your arms rest. We are going to move through all those letters one more time. So letter Y, reach your arms above your head. Then come into letter W. Bend your elbows. Press your arms down into the floor. Then straighten your arms, and this becomes your letter T. Big wide wingspan, horizontal arms. Then re-bend those elbows, but lift your lower arms from elbow to your fingertips. Point them up towards the ceiling. And this becomes your letter L. One more time, rest your arms down. Reach your arms above your head, Y. Bend your elbows, pull your arms down a little, W. Straighten your arms out wide, horizontal, like wings, letter T. Re-bend your elbows And then lift your lower arms, elbow to the fingernails, part of your arms. Point it up towards the ceiling, letter L. Awesome work, my friends. Let your arms rest. Maybe you bring your arms closer to your hips. And now we bring our attention back to our legs. So bring your right ankle on top of your left thigh and push that right knee away and open up in this nice number 4 figure for the legs. And then wave that number 4 side to side. And see how that feels in your body, in your outer right hip. We did a nice hip opener earlier, so maybe that has helped you and this feels a little easier. And then pause and then try to cross that right thigh a little more closely on top of the left thigh and adjust and wiggle your feet however you need to. So now my right thigh is firmly on top of the left thigh. And maybe you stop right here. This feels good, and this is where you want to rest your lower back firmly against the floor, against the mat. Maybe you want to pull your feet, your knees closer to your chest, so you lift that left leg off of the floor and hold on to opposite legs here. So my right hand is holding on to the left knee and my left hand is holding on to the right knee or right shin. And don't worry too much, just wherever your hands lay easily is the perfect place. Maybe you stop and pause here, or maybe you like to wave side to side and front and back. And this is a nice way to kind of massage your lower back into the mat. Deep breath here. And I like to sometimes rotate and make a circle with my knees in the air. Again, nice way to massage my lower back. And then changing the direction of that circle. And then slowly let your left foot find the floor again. Undo the cross of that right leg. And stop and pause. Pausing to check in how that position, that pose that we just did, made your body feel. Great. Moving on to the second side. Left ankle on top of your right thigh now. Again into this number 4 position, the other side. And then press that left knee away. Feel the opening in that left hip. Maybe you stop, or maybe you like to rock this number 4 side to side. Feeling how it feels in your left outer hip. And then pause again. And then cross that left thigh a little more firmly on top of your right thigh. Maybe this is the place for you to rest. Maybe you like to lift that right leg off of the floor, pulling the knees closer to your chest. Again, now my right hand is on top of the left leg and left hand on top of my right leg. Knee, shin, whatever you like to hold is good. Breathing. Maybe you rock forward and back, side to side. How does your hip feel in the second side? How does your lower back interact with the mat here, now? Or maybe you choose to do circles with your knees, one way and then the other. And then let that go. Bring your right foot down, uncross the legs. And this time, just pull your right knee into your chest. And then when you release that right leg, straighten that right leg straight down on the floor. Then pull the left knee into your chest. And release that left leg and let your left leg be straight down on the floor. Let your arms rest on either side of your hips. Let your feet flop open. Just releasing and letting your body be really heavy here. Great work. Rebend your knees. And this time, pull your left leg into your chest. And then come into this half happy baby where you hold on to the left shin or left ankle or left calf with your left hand and pull your knee towards your armpit. So for some people, maybe the foot points forward to the front wall, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. Maybe for some, all you can do is just hold on to the left knee, and this is a place for you to rest. And for others, while you hold on to the shin, you try to orient your foot towards the ceiling. So my left sole of the foot is trying to orient towards the ceiling. If this feels good in your body, this is called a half happy baby pose. Breathing. And then slowly release that foot. Let your left leg come down to the floor. Same thing on the second side. Maybe just pull your right knee in, hold on with your right arm, and stop here. Maybe you start to hold on to the shin and try to point the leg, the foot, right foot towards either the front wall or, if it's possible, towards the ceiling. So my right knee is pointing kind of towards my right armpit, and my right sole of the foot is trying to orient towards the ceiling. Half happy baby. Breathing. And see how this position feels in your right hip. A deep opener for your inner thigh, for your hamstring. Excellent work. Release that right foot down to the floor and rest. Maybe you don't want to do both legs at the same time and you want to repeat one leg and then the other, and that's always an option. Or you want to join me in taking both legs into your full happy baby pose. So I like to support the calves with my palms, and my elbows are kind of coming inside my thighs. This feels good for my body. Please try to find whatever works for your body. You're trying to pull your tailbone down towards the mat. So typically the tailbone will want to lift. So try to keep it down the best you can. And again, if the soles of your feet are not pointing to the ceiling, it's perfectly fine to let them point to the front wall. Find any place where your body can let go and release, so that your inner thighs and your hamstring can feel the nice stretch along with a nice hip opening exercise. Great work. Slowly release. Let your feet pull your knees in towards each other and then let them come down to the floor. And then bringing your hands on either side of your hips, you're going to rest again for a minute. Breathing, feeling how that feels in your body. Great work, friends. Slowly turn on to your right side. Make a pillow with your right elbow. And you lay down here on your right side, resting. And then extend the top leg beneath you. Push into the floor with your left hand and slowly come on up. Meet me sitting lengthwise on your mat with a block, if you might need one, behind you. And then you're going to make your right leg nice and long. And I'm going to, at this point of time, position my hips and sit on the block. So this gives my spine a nice boost, my tailbone a nice boost, and this feels good in my body. So I welcome you to do that. Or maybe you would prefer to sit on a bolster or a pillow. My left knee is bent and my right leg is nice and long. And then I'm going to pull my shoulders and hands inside that left knee. So for that to happen, maybe you take that left foot out to the left slightly and then bring both hands on that right thigh. And maybe you would like to stop right here. Or maybe you would like to lean forward, hinge at your hips, and try to reach your hands on towards the knees and a little further. Again, take it slow. You do not want to lengthen the hamstring beyond their capacity, so it feels raw. If your right hamstrings, your right leg feels a little bit too stretched, dial back and sit up tall again. But if it feels good and welcoming, you start to reach your hands on that right leg. And wherever you feel is comfortable for your body. And once you reach a certain place where it feels good, you stop. Breathing, inhale and then exhale. Great work. Slowly come back up. And now let your left knee come down to the floor. And this is where I like to transition and sit back down on the floor. But please continue sitting on the block or a bolster if it feels like the boost in your height for the tailbone feels good. And then again, the same thing, you're going to hinge forward with the bent left knee down on the floor this time and lean forward the best you can. Sometimes I like to stack one palm on top of the other or one fist on top of the other and then give my right knee a little boost so I'm not overextending my right leg, and then hinge forward, lengthening your spine and slowly releasing your head on top of whatever feels good. Another option here is to take a block and bring that on top of your right thigh, and then maybe you let your forehead rest on the block here. So there are many options. Please do whatever feels good for your body. Taking a couple breaths here. This is called Janu Shirshasana. This is a great pose to reset your nervous system, welcoming that rest and digest part of your nervous system to reactivate. And slowly pushing down with your hands, you're going to come back up if you've been hinging forward. And then switching sides, we meet again on the block. So I would like to sit back on the block. This time I'm going to lengthen my left leg nice and long. Keep my right knee bent. Heel toe that right foot out to the right slightly so that both of my shoulders and hands can come inside onto the left leg. You're going to hinge forward. Wherever you feel like you need to stop, you stop. Let your head hang and feel this fold in your hip. How does this feel? And slowly come back up. This is where I transition back onto the mat. Let my right knee sleep on the floor now. And then again, hinging forward at the hip, trying to keep my spine as long as possible. And then at some point, I'm going to release, let that go. Maybe you bring your hands underneath your knees so that your forehead can come on the floor. Maybe you take a block on your thigh. Any number of options here. There is no one place that you need to be, and there is no one shape that your body needs to take to do this pose, to do this exercise. Couple breaths. Slowly coming back up, pushing down with your hands, and upright spine again. We're going to transition back onto the yoga block here. I already have one behind me, so I'm going to move on to the block. And this time I'm going to take my left leg, left heel, and bring it close to the yoga block so that my knee is pointing forward and my toes are pointing to the back of me. I'm going to pull that right knee in and stop here. See how this way of sitting down feels in your body. If this feels super comfortable, then you're welcome to come out from that yoga block and down onto the floor. Deep breath here. And then you're going to take one hand behind you and then the other. And now you're going to reach your chest up towards the ceiling while you reach your all 10 fingers away from your body. And again, stop here. Maybe you're on a yoga block, maybe you're not. Either way, stop here and see how this feels. A nice big deep breath into your chest. And slowly release. And again, a nice deep breath in and release. Great work. You're going to turn to the right so that your right knee can sleep over to the right side. You turn with both hands and then come back. Walk your hands forward again so that you can undo the leg and bring it forward. Both legs pointing nice and long. You're coming and sitting down in this L kind of a sit in your body, L shape in your body. Taking a deep breath in and exhale. Let's move on to the other side. Again, sitting down on a block. And then bringing your right heel so that it can come close to your yoga block on the right side. Your right knee pointing straight forward, your right heel close to the block, right toes pointing behind you, and you stop here. A great way to check in how this feels. And then if you know you're going to feel comfortable, you move the block out of the way, sit down. So this is quite a big opener for the front of your ankle. So see if that is where you feel this opening. And then you're going to take one hand behind you and then the second hand behind you and the second side, the second leg opening here. Lift your chest up and slowly release. Again, taking a deep breath in and slowly release. Great work. Slowly let your left knee sleep to the left. Bring both hands over to the left. Walk your hands so that you can slowly undo the bend in that right knee and come back into this L sit. Wiggle on your sit bones. Maybe you want to sit on a block here. And that's something you're definitely welcome to do. And taking a deep breath. And a slow exhale. One more time, deep inhale and a slow exhale. Great work. You're going to bring a bolster underneath your knees now. So maybe you're sitting on a block and then you're going to bring a bolster underneath your knees. That's something you can definitely do. And then you're going to fold forward here. So let your spine round. And maybe you need another block on top of your knees, on your thigh, so that your forehead can come down on something. Or maybe this is the place where forehead can easily touch your knees. Either way, find a shape that feels welcome in your body. And this is a simple forward fold where you're going to rest. Slowly coming back up, taking a deep breath, and then come out, move the bolster out of the way so that we move on to the next pose. Now I'm going to take the bolster behind me and I'm going to change the angle of my sitting so that I can face the camera. But I'm going to sit on the edge of the bolster and then open my legs out in this nice letter V position. And then please bring your blocks in front of you. So you definitely need both your blocks in front of you. And your tailbone is nice and lifted on that bolster here. Bring both hands on top of your blocks. And then start to hinge forward here. So see how this nice open leg position and a hip hinge feels in your body. Let your head drop, let your neck be soft, let your shoulders be soft, and stop and breathe. Maybe this is the place you need to stop and let your body just feel the stretch, whatever it's feeling right now. Maybe you want to go further, deeper into the stretch, so you push the blocks away and maybe you bring your elbows or your lower arms down onto the blocks. And this is another place where you can rest. Couple breaths here. Great work. Slowly come back up And now you're going to place one block on top of the other and find a good place for the blocks to be so that your forehead can rest on the block and both your hands can be on either side, on either leg. So there is a difference in this pose when your elbows come down and when your forehead feels rested. So the first time I did it, my elbows were resting on the block and that was a different sensation. And now that my forehead is rested on the block, it gives me a different sensation. What do you like better? And you're welcome to adjust the blocks. Like I said, the blocks can change length, right? Height. Maybe you use 2 blocks, maybe you use 3 blocks, whatever feels good for you. And then slowly come on up again. Now we're going to turn towards the right leg. So I'm going to keep the left leg as is. And then try to turn my shoulders over to the right leg. I'm going to bring both hands first on my right thigh and try to turn my right toes up towards the ceiling. And then stop here. If I feel like I can hinge a little forward, then I'm going to walk my hands on either side of that right leg and start to reach forward. And then again, stop right here. This is a good place to stop. Let your head hang. If you think you want to go a little more, you start to hinge forward a little more. Maybe you bend your knee so that you do not overstretch your hamstring. And just be here, feeling the deep hinge in your right side. Great work. Now come out of that forward fold, come up again, and this time fold that left knee. So now my left knee is folding, but it's pointing out towards the left side while I start to turn to the right, towards the right leg. And then I'm going to fold again towards the right leg. So a little different. When my left leg was straight, it felt a little different. Now this feels a little different in my body. Deep breath here. Again, maybe you bring in a block and bring it to whatever length you would like it to be so that your forehead can rest. Deep breath. And slowly come out of that. Come back to where we started with both legs nice and wide. And see how you feel. If you're slipping away from your bolster like I was, find your way back on the bolster. And moving on to the other leg. Now turn so that your shoulders face the left leg. Keep your right leg as long as possible for now. And then start to hinge forward towards the left leg. First, always start with the hands on the thigh and then reach forward very slowly, very carefully. Find a place where it feels comfortable. Maybe you bend your knee again and then hinge forward. Let your head drop. Soft gaze or closed eyes. Easy face. Nothing constricting. Nothing tensed. And slowly coming out of that. Now you bend that right knee so that my right knee is bent but still pointing out to the right. And again, I turn my shoulders towards that left leg. Excuse me. And then hinge again forward. Start to bend and lean forward again. If a block seems like a good idea for some place for your forehead to rest, please go ahead and get that. Great work. Slowly come out of that. Rebend that left knee and then meet me again in a simple cross-legged position. This time I'm going to transition and sit down on my mat. You're welcome to keep sitting on your bolster. Hands on your legs, finding a tall seat, easy soft shoulders. And then just breathe here. See how this position, this easy posture feels in your body. Maybe you close your eyes. Allow your body to digest all that we just did. To feel how this position feels now. Now that you've moved through each and every body part, each and every joint. And before we end here, we're going to go through some very slow, easy neck rotations. So pull your chin in while you keep your spine nice and tall. So taking care that you're not rounding your spine, still finding a nice tall seat. Broad shoulders, open collarbone. And then pull your chin into your chest. Then turn your chin towards your right shoulder to look over your right shoulder down towards the floor. Then pull your chin back to center. And then turn your chin towards the left shoulder. Look over your left shoulder down to the floor. So these are half neck rotations. Please continue 1 or 2 times. This is the last time for me. Great work. Back to center, lift your chin up. And for some people, this half neck rotation is all that feels good in the neck, right? So please, if you know your neck is sensitive, do not go and do anything else. But if you want to feel the full neck rotation, then you're with me, you're pulling your chin into your chest. Turn your chin over to the right shoulder. And then start to look up towards the ceiling. So take your nose, start to look to the right side wall, and then start to look up towards the ceiling. And then like a rainbow arching, take your nose over to the left shoulder now. And look down over your left shoulder. And then pull your chin back in to the center. Changing direction. Taking your chin over to the left shoulder first this time. And then taking your nose to point to the side wall and then up to the ceiling. And then taking it over to the right shoulder. And back to center, slow and steady. And come back, bring your chin back up, back to neutral. Take a deep breath in and a slow exhale. Interlace your fingers, take it above and on top of your head, in the crown of your head. Pull your elbows in and forward, and then pull your chin again one last time in towards your chest while you keep your chest up, while you keep your spine nice and tall. And so feel that stretch in the back of your neck. Taking care not to pull on your neck too much. And then slowly release the clasp of your hands. Let your hands be on your legs again and then lift your chin back up. Hopefully making your neck a little bit easier to move. Maybe you want to nod yes and nod a gentle no to check in. Great work, my friends. Please meet me lying down flat on the floor for your final resting pose, Shavasana. I'm going to stay seated while I guide you through this. So take the time to lie down on your back. Maybe you want to bend your knees. Maybe you want to knock your knees towards each other. Maybe you want to lengthen your legs and keep them nice and long on the mat. And so whatever shape your body wants to take here, bent knees, long legs, try to relax with care onto the mat. For some people, final resting pose on the floor seems very uncomfortable. In that case, if it's the same for you. Maybe you want to take a seat on a chair, and that's always an option. So any place you feel rested is a good place for your final resting pose. Start by wiggling your toes, wiggling your fingers, and then open your fingers wide, open your palms wide, open your toes wide, spread your toes, in other words. And then make a fist with your fingers and hands and toes and take a deep inhale. And then open your fingers, open your hands, and let it exhale out. Release the tension. One more time, make a fist with your hands, make a fist with your toes. Take a deep breath in. And then exhale, open your hands, open your toes, release, relax, let it go. With your eyes closed or with your eyes soft and open, and start to bring awareness to your head, to your forehead and to your temples. Notice if there is any kind of tension, and release and relax your head. Imagine your nose broadening in some manner, and this, just imagining the bridge of the nose broadening can help you relax your face muscles. See if that is true for you as well. And bring a gentle smile, a half smile on your face. Helps you relax your lower jaw. Relaxing your shoulders, breathe into them. And exhale, let them be heavy on the mat. Breathe into your chest, breathe into your low belly. And as you exhale, let your organs, let all the internal organs rest deep in your cavity of the trunk. This is safe, this is easy. Letting your hips be heavy. Let your legs take whatever shape that feels good. Bent knees, long legs. But let them be heavy here. We're going to take 5 easy breaths, nothing special. Just a slow inhale. Pause at the top of your breath and then exhale slowly, deeply. And again, inhale. Pause briefly and then exhale slowly. Inhale. A brief pause, then exhale slowly. Inhale, let your belly fill up. And a gentle exhale. Last time, inhale, take a deep breath in. And exhale, slowly release. Excellent work, my friends. Please stay here. Please stay lying down, resting if that's something that feels right for your body. And I'll take your leave now until next time. Thank you for joining.